everyone, welcome to another Transplants video. I'm in my conservatory today, because why not? But I'm just reminding you that if you hit that subscribe button, the closest we get to 1,000 subscribers, we start to make revenue from these videos, and all revenue made from Transplants videos goes to Transplant Sport. And we have got the cricket on in the background, so whatever goes on. But yeah, make sure you hit that subscribe button, please. Thank you very much. See you in a bit.
What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another transplant story. And today we are again looking at the stories that have affected the transplant community in a positive way due to sport. Today we're joined by Nevil Cunningham. How are you, mate?
I'm very well, thanks.
Yeah, so we've had Zoe from Scotland. We've now got Nevil from Scotland. So there we go. Nevil, you have quite a special case in terms of this. So talk to us about. Sort of, we usually say, "Oh, what activities did you do, like pre-transplant?" But you had sort of an underlying health condition to start off with, didn't you?
Yes, I was born with a condition called nail and patella syndrome, which is all born. It's a genetic condition. It's a mutation on chromosome 13, if you want to get really into it. And basically, the outward symptoms are my nails don't grow properly. They're all split. I don't actually have a thumbnail at all. I'm unable to straighten my arms. I have glaucoma. I don't have any kneecaps, and there's a couple of other wee bits and bobs. And that's an incidence rate of 1 in 50,000 to get that condition. However, 30% of the 1 in 50,000 also unfortunately have kidney problems, and I was one of those 1 in 50,000. So I actually grew up, my entire life from a very, very early age, always knowing that I was going to eventually need a kidney transplant. However, as a young boy, I ran around, played all that sort of stuff. Then I started playing football at an early age, and I also how it actually came about was my mum didn't really have anyone to look after me when she went to see her friends, so she dragged me along to the bowling club, and basically so I didn't have to sit with all the old women, if you like. I just ended up going and playing bowls. So I ended up just having a love for bowls, lawn bowls. So I played kind of football and bowls alongside right the way through school. And I was just like a healthy, normal young person. And then it was only when I went to university that my health started to deteriorate. Everyone in the transplant community will know that kind of graph of kidney function, and there was a steep decline of kidney function, really almost as I turned 17. And with regular appointments with consultants and stuff like that, they said, look, this is deteriorating fast. We're going to try and keep you going as much as we can. And then eventually, when I was 20, that was the point at which I needed to go into dialysis, which was like the beginning of my fourth year of university, which, as most people will know, that's like your honours year. So it was a very, very difficult honours year, dialysis and things like that, and trying to get assignments in and do everything that you need to do in that final year. It was difficult, but I managed it. I got through it. I managed my degree, and then started working. However, I was actually on dialysis for a total of 5 years, which was difficult. 3.5 years on peritoneal dialysis, which you're probably familiar with, and a 1.5 years on hemodialysis because I contracted peritonitis, which is an infection of your peritoneum, which is how the dialysis all basically works. And my peritoneum was scarred, so I had to go into hemodialysis, and then I was on that for about a 1.5 years. Lots of people have different dialysis stories. Mine's is, unique to me, but I also think it's fairly interesting because I was quite healthy on peritoneal dialysis. I was going out, as a 20-year-old would do. I was going on lads' holidays, as a 20-year-old would do, and the service was fantastic. This company called Baxter, who supply all the equipment, so I was just taking what I needed to take to these destinations. And when you get to the hotel room, wherever you are, these boxes of fluid from floor to ceiling are ready in the room waiting for you. So it was actually not a terrible experience.
Absolutely, it's a fascinating story. I really love it. So do you think if you'd have had, say, this transplant out of the blue, you weren't even thinking about it, do you think it would have affected you worse than it actually did?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it must be very, very difficult for people who are hearing this news for the first time, because it takes time to process things. Just like bad news, maybe like a family member that's unwell out of the blue. It takes a while to process these things and deal with it and accept it and think of what to do next. So it must be very, very difficult for people who are just like, think they're okay, then all of a sudden, your kidneys aren't working, because your kidneys may not be working very well at all. In fact, kidneys are fantastic at doing the job that they do. Everyone has two, and your kidney, you could only have one kidney working at 25% capacity, and you would never know that you were unwell. I mean, that's how good the kidneys are at doing their job, So, it must be a real shock for some folk.
Yeah, so talk to me about like the operation and how you felt afterwards. Was it sort of a feeling of relief that actually all this time it's been building up and then it's finally done?
Well, yeah. I mean, as it happens, because I knew we were going to end up discussing this kind of thing, I did have one very difficult situation, and that was after 3 years of the 5, I did get a phone call to go in for a transplant. And I went in, got myself ready, into the hospital, and then you get like a little kind of assessment, and the transplant surgeon comes over and just has a little health check and everything like that. So he's checking me over, and he's like, "What's this?" And I was like, "It was like a little sort of." It was called a pineidal sinus, right? It was basically like a little boil that was growing in the way instead of out the way, if you like. And I said, but the hospital's known about this for over a year. And he was like, well, we can't go ahead with the transplant because of this little thing. And that was difficult. That was difficult to deal with, And the consultant was going absolutely crazy, he was going absolutely bonkers. And then if I got the operation, it was like an outpatient operation. It took about half an hour, in and out, done, and I got that done the week later. But yeah, so I missed out on a transplant after 3 years, and I had to wait another 2 to eventually get the transplant. But so on that day, I was like, worried that was going to happen again. So, but fortunately, it was a late night call. It was like 2 a.m. I got the call, and went in, checked over. I think I got the operation at approximately lunchtime. And yeah, post-transplant was rocky for me. It did not take. A lot of people have like instant results and things like that, I did not have instant results. There was like no urine being produced or anything like that, or if it was like a tiny drop in things. And I was part of a trial, an immunosuppressant drug trial, and very quickly I got took off that because it obviously wasn't working, and there was high dosage of steroids and things like that, and it was about a week that it took for the kidney to kick in, as it were. However, every time they took a biopsy, it kept coming back that things weren't good. So I was in hospital for about 3 months after my transplant. In general, as far as I'm aware anyway, people are out after 2 weeks-ish. So 3 months was a really, really long time. However, they juggled around the drugs. They tried out about 3 or 4 different immunosuppressants, and eventually they came to a fairly unusual combination, but which worked for myself.
So you mentioned that you like to play football. You did lawn bowls when you were younger. So was transplant sport something that you were aware of, and is it something? And when you did become aware of it, what was your sort of reaction?
Well, interestingly, I absolutely was not aware of it, because my transplant was in 2005, and I was going into clinic appointments, and I think it was a clinic appointment in about early 2007, maybe late 2006, and there was a poster on a notice board, and I thought, there's a chap bowling on that poster. So I went over and had a little look at the poster, and it was British Transplant Games, and it's unbelievable that a chance sighting of a poster would basically completely change my life for the better. It's an incredible journey from a poster to what's happened since. I phoned the number. I got through to a very, very well-known chap called Frank Clark, who, if you can get a chat with him, that would be a brilliant wee chat for you. Went along to a meeting. Now, you can imagine, you phone a number, don't you? You speak to a chap on the phone, and he says, meet me at a youth hostel opposite the Playhouse Theatre. So I was like, right, okay, it's a bit weird, but I'll see how this goes. So I can't remember the exact name of the youth hostel. I think it's a Euro hostel or something like that. Down to the bottom floor of that, wandering about, hoping that I don't get sort of mugged and stabbed or something like that. And there it was. There was Frank, along with a few other of the Edinburgh team. Leslie Forrest, who's actually got an MBE because of our work for charity. Unbelievable lady. Her husband Keith, who's now one of my best friends. Chap called Hamish, who's a well-known fellow, brilliant guy, and that was that. So my first games was Edinburgh 2007. I only took part in lawn bowls. I tell you why. I got roped into doing the 100 metres relay in a kilt, and I think I pulled a thigh muscle, and my thigh's never been the same since. So I took part in it.
What would you say, sort of mentally, the sport has done for you? Obviously, sport is massive in the world of sort of well-being and exercise and that kind of stuff. So what would you say, getting back, being active, talking, being social, what has that done to your mental health?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's everything, because I'm quite a social person, and this is why lockdown is very, very difficult for me. I'm fortunate, because my wife's here and things like that. So if I was completely on my own, that'd be really, really difficult, But I love a bit of competition, friendly competition, bit of banter. I really, really look forward to meeting everyone. I've actually taken up golf as well. I started playing golf in about about 2010, I think, ish. In addition to lawn bowls, but it was really because I felt only having one event, I wasn't really doing too much. So I started playing golf with no intention of winning anything, really, just to get to know more people and all that sort of stuff. And I really have. The guys in the golf event are fantastic. Lots of great guys. Charlie Dyson, David Lilly, all that sort of stuff. George, all the rest. Great guys. So, like, the more sports you get involved with, the more people you meet, and the more you realise how fantastic, just the whole transplant family is. It's amazing.
What would you say it's like being in a place? Obviously, you said you're 1 in 50,000, like in your condition, but being in a place where sort of people know what you've been through in that respect.
Aye, I think that actually is one of the biggest benefits of attending the transplant games. It doesn't really matter if you're good at sport, you know. It's just amazing to meet someone who has been in a similar position to yourself, who kind of understands what it's like to, you know, be down, like almost think about your own mortality, if you know what I mean. Be in a place where you're like not sure what the future holds. You can't really make long-term plans or anything like that, especially when you're on dialysis. I mean, I was told that you only really get approximately 15 years on dialysis. You know, your body can only really handle 15 years on dialysis, or at least that's what I was told. It may be a fable, it may not be a fable. However, that's what I was told. So when you hit 5 years on dialysis, you know what I mean? You start to think to yourself, I've only got 10 years left to, or that's it kind of thing, you know? So you do start to stress. So when you meet people in the transplant family, it's amazing. The first person I ever met at the registration event in Edinburgh was someone who had had a double lung transplant, you know, cystic fibrosis, double lung transplant, complete life transformation, you know, unbelievable to go from like a completely debilitating sort of condition to brand new life, brand new start, you know. It was a brand new start for myself as well, because as I had said, I had graduated from university, but as I was on dialysis, I couldn't really apply for like further education or anything like that, because I always had a notion of being a teacher. So being unable to do that, because if you go into teacher training, you go in placements and things like that. So if you can't fulfill your placement, you have to go through like what's known as an alternative pathway. And I didn't really want to do that. So I had to wait, you know, until I got my transplant to apply to become a teacher. And that's what I've done. That's what I do now.
Absolutely. And to finish off, we always ask this one to finish it off. Can you tell me 3 words that describe the impact of sport on your transplant life and in your life in general?
It's sort of made me proud. I'm kind of proud of myself. I'm proud of my achievements, you know. I think opportunity would be the best way to describe how I feel about transplant sport, because it's given me the opportunity to meet people, you know, expand my horizons, you know, and like think about things on a completely different level. But what it's also given me the opportunity, it's given me the opportunity to visit places like I never thought I would ever visit. You know, like even just the cities in the UK, you know, you round them off: Coventry, Belfast, Sheffield, obviously there was Edinburgh, Newcastle. Now I might have visited these places, but then again I might not have. But on top of that, with the World Games, I've been to Australia. Now I would have loved to go to Australia, but would I have been to Australia as soon as 2009? You know, probably not. South Africa, there's a good chance I never would have visited South Africa. I mean, it's a cool place, what a wonderful place, but probably not. Malaga 2017, like maybe I would have went to Malaga, but again, probably not. So it's just given me the opportunity to do so many things that I would never ever have dreamed of doing. It's quite humbling, I suppose. Maybe contentment, I don't know. I feel a real contentment with my life. Transplantation has allowed me to do things that otherwise would never have been able to do. You know, I wouldn't have been able to, you know, go out, like meet my wife. I wouldn't have been able to have my current job. You know, I wouldn't have been able to get involved in transplant sport. That's another thing that I think about that quite a lot. You know, sort of the idea of fate, if you like. You know, so from like a really, really, really dark past, if you like, through being on my knees health-wise and requiring this kind of life-saving operation, my life has went in a completely different trajectory. You know, I would never have visited these countries. I would never have met people who have become my best friends. So actually being unwell is possibly the best thing that could ever have happened to me. You know, because it's really opened up my life to all these amazing things.
Absolutely, and that is a wonderful way to put it. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Thank you very much, Nevil, for joining us and sharing your story with us. And yeah, we'll let you know when this is out. And thank you very much for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time.